episode of the month here.
There it is.
Oh, boy.
Hitting the button. Hitting the button. Gifford, are you finally ready for this show?
I think I'm ready.
Well, that's
Okay.
good, because this is Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we
yeah.
pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
I'm Pete.
And I'm Giff.
And before we start tonight, guys, I just got one question for you.
I know what it is.
You
Go
ready
ahead.
for this question?
I'm
You know what
ready.
this is? Oh, Pete, I want to know if you really know what this
I'm
is.
gonna let you. I'm gonna let
Hey,
you
Pete.
say it.
Pete, when you
Yeah.
make love, do you look in your mirror?
that wasn't what I thought it was. Gonna
Oh,
I thought you were going to ask him
Go on.
Armageddon it.
no.
be.
No.
What did you think I was going to ask you, Pete?
I thought it was going to be, "Are you ready to rock?" or something like that.
Oh, no, no, no.
That wouldn't have made sense.
No, but seriously, I want to know. Do you look in your mirror?
I have. Well, no.
Oh, please don't answer that, please.
Oh, boy. Def Leppard. Def Leppard here.
Yes.
If you want to start talking about him.
I love this band. This album, Hysteria, which we are going to cover tonight, was massive in my childhood. I remember mowing lawn. Took me 2.5 hours with a push lawnmower to mow my lawn, and I would have
You
my
guys
Walkman.
didn't have a riding lawnmower on a farm?
Yeah, oh yeah, we did, but Mom didn't like the yard around the house done with a riding lawnmower. She didn't like the
Oh, I like
track.
your
But how
Mom, that's
big
nice.
was it that it took 2.5
Yeah,
hours?
really.
Though?
I'm on a farm, and the lawnmower's what? Probably got a 20.
Yeah, but you're talking about the
4-inch
yard around the house.
You
We
do
had
It was
the
that
outer
big,
too.
perimeter of the house
Huge.
with the push mower.
It was huge.
The
My
rest
brother,
of it, you can do that.
my brother got to do the ditch and in the trees with the riding lawnmower, and I had to do around the house with the push mower. So anyway,
I love
love
your mom's
riding
attention
lawnmower.
to detail and
Oh,
care
yeah.
for her yard, because I would be all for that.
I did a great job. But as I did this lawn mowing, I had my Walkman, and there were 3 cassettes that I would listen to. And it would be New Jersey by Bon Jovi. And it would be Look What the Cat Dragged In by Poison.
Oh, my.
Ah.
And Hysteria by Def Leppard.
We might have to do a lawn mowing episode, like top 5 albums for mowing the lawn.
For mowing
That's
the
true.
lawn.
Well, I
Yeah.
listened to this the other day while I was mowing the lawn, Hysteria, so.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I
Not on a Walkman, though.
You know what?
No.
I actually did too, come to think of it. This is a
On-
great lawn mowing album.
Well, and with the
That's-
sexual undertones, you could argue you'd be
Oh,
mowing the lawn could be a euphemism for something.
that was going to be my
That's
next
what
question
my-
later
what I
on
had in
was,
mind.
hey, guys, did you know that most of these songs are about sex?
Well, so here's the thing. This
They're
came
very
out
thinly veiled.
when this came out in '87. I was all of 11 years old, and to be honest with you, the lyrics I really could not understand most of the lyrics because
Yeah, I know. I was actually surprised on a few of them when
Mhm.
studying this for this episode. Like, man, that's not how I always thought it was for the last 35 years.
Correct. Yes, that's exactly correct. So I read this thing once, actually. I think I heard it actually, that Mick Jagger always talked about how the way you would say words were more about the song itself or how it sounded, not necessarily pronouncing words properly.
Yeah.
And I think Def Leppard might have taken that to heart because there's a lot of
times,
words.
like, I'll sing along and sing all the words to the song, but I don't think about them at all, like what they're even
Mhm.
saying or what they mean. This podcast has made me learn so much about albums
Yes.
that I've loved my whole life, but never even really thought about. I
Mhm.
just
And you're
like
just
the way they
appalled
sounded.
when you find out what they are, right?
Yes,
So-
I will never listen to this one again.
So for me, yes, listening to it this time and actually going through the lyrics, this is pretty suggestive, or actually not even suggestive in a lot of cases, just pretty much right in your face with the lyrics. So that was not on my mind back then so much as this was just awesome music and I loved it. And this album was just so formative for me that I had to pick it for this year. Like I said on our first episode of the month, if I didn't pick this, it was going to be Predator, the movie. but
I'm
I
so
just
glad
love
you
this
picked
album.
this.
I
This
just
is
love
a
this album.
great
Pete,
choice.
did you own this cassette or album, Pete?
I don't know that I ever actually owned it. I remember my brother owning, if I remember correctly, I think he owned the Pyromania album.
Oh my God, you're like stealing my entire shtick right here.
Sorry.
That's because our brothers were older and they don't even like this
And
album, I'm
they,
sure.
they had the vinyl, and he had the. I'm pretty sure that he had the vinyl, if I recall correctly. But of Pyromania, not Hysteria, though. But this is one that always got played on the bus going to middle school. It was one of about 3 or 4 that just got played repeatedly. I
Mhm.
remember some of these songs that we'll get into playing at the middle school dance.
Yes.
And we'll get into that in a moment. My comments on this were, as I was watching some of the videos, my comparison, here I come with another analogy. When Joe Mauer played, you would always say, if you're going to teach your kid how to hit a baseball, you want to show them Joe Mauer, videos of Joe Mauer. I
Yep.
say, if you want to teach your kid how to be a rock star, show them Def Leppard, because they just seemed to just have it all. Everything was just fundamentally exactly the way it needed to be if you're going to be an 80s rock band like they were.
Mhm.
And when you think of 80s rock band, this is the one that is the epitome of I know it's epitome. I'm not an idiot.
It's like, wait a minute.
No, but they really are. They are the prototype example of what an 80s rock band should be. And this album just exemplified all of it.
Well, Pete, I would say one thing, that Def Leppard would be the type of band to change epitome to epitome to make it rhyme and make it sound good in a song. So I think you honor them by calling them the epitome of a 80s rock.
of making love.
My first 2 notes here are identical to Pete. I never actually owned this either.
Oh,
But, and because I watched the classic albums that you can watch on Amazon about this, and they've described it's a greatest hits album. That's what it is. And so you heard almost all of it on the radio so many times. It was no need to buy it.
7 singles off of this. Yeah.
So,
Charted.
but my brother, who graduated in 87, he also owned Pyromania on cassette. And I had listened to that lots of times. And I will go to my grave saying Rock of Ages and Photograph are 2 of the top 5-10 songs of all the 80s. Rock of Ages is probably my absolute favorite, most personal favorite song of the entire decade. I cannot listen to that song enough times still. So I'm a huge fan of Pyromania, and I listened to it again before this to compare, because I know that so my brother-in-law Craig, and I'm sure my brother too, they were huge fans of Def Leppard before, and this album is the one that kind of turned them actually off. Even though this was the giant album, if you were an older guy and a lover of this band, this wasn't necessarily for you to do. The analogy I made is, it's kind of like the Black Album for Metallica fans. A lot of them who just, will not own that one and just despise that. Or even for me, I love REM, but there's a lot of fans that look at Out of Time as like one of their worst albums, which I think is just utterly ridiculous. But that was their like big breakthrough, best-selling album.
Yep.
But there's a lot of fans that that's not for them. It's not cool to like the one that's the biggest.
Sure.
However, when I listen to Pyromania and this, there is a clear, distinct difference, I think, between them. And I can totally understand why somebody who loved the band earlier might not have really cared for this as much. But we were 11 years old. So what did we care?
And we were finding our own musical path. And this was the one that jumped out at the right time.
Yeah. And speaking of the 7 singles and everything, the goal when they wrote this album was to be a hard rock version of Thriller.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what that was my note. I was going to say that.
Oh, sorry.
Brad stole one.
But it was Mutt Lange was the producer.
Yes.
And so that was going to be my comment, is that I wonder if that's why, was because he said that he wanted those hits that became all just monster hits. He wanted these songs to be more radio friendly so that they could become hits. And that may be why Def Leppard and maybe some of these other examples that you named, maybe they got away a little bit from who they truly were, that the diehard fans may not have liked them as much.
Because they were setting out to write giant hits, and so it's going to have a little different sound. And one thing I found interesting is that even though they're from England, Pyromania wasn't that big in England. It was huge in America, and so we think of it as huge, but it wasn't as big there. It wasn't as big of a hit. This one definitely was more of a breakthrough kind of in their home country over there, which I think is kind of crazy.
So
do you think any of it has to do with the fact that you had Rick Allen's accident? So you had 4 years in between albums. Do you think they just took that time and maybe overproduced it a little bit, or took a little bit too much time to really
I think it's both.
Something?
They set out with the goal to write all these hits, and so it's going to take a long time. And then they want, when you have that goal, everything's got to be just perfect. And this became one of the most expensive records ever made in history, because they just kept going at it for so long to get it just right. And I mean, to their credit, they ended up getting it right for what they wanted to do.
Well, and Phil
Collins cost
Collins
a lot of money and took a lot of time, and they're also considered a cursed band with all the stuff they've been through.
Right. Well, and Phil Collins had said in an interview that they needed to sell 5 million copies to break even.
Right.
Because of the expense that was put into making this album.
Well, and the other thing that I learned that I didn't realize is this album did not start off very well. It was a slow burn, and they were a little worried about it, and then it just took off.
Well, and how do you not? Because in England, Animal was the lead single, but here it was Woman. Like Woman, I like Woman. I think it's a good song. Women. Women's a good song.
I like Woman.
I like
me
Woman.
Gift, me like Woman. But Animal is so much better. Like,
well, here's the deal. Animal is one of my favorites, and we'll get to all these. But the biggest surprise to me listening to this album over again, besides the songs I didn't really know much, was Women, and I'll get to that when we talk about it. But that one really, it was not at all how I remembered it.
No? Okay.
I can also see why it wouldn't have been a great first single, but I can also see why they maybe chose it as a first single. So I don't know if you're ready to get into it or not yet, but.
Well, I wanted to cover just a couple of things, just a few stats. So this album did win 2 AMA awards in '89 for, I believe, Best Rock Group and Album. It's the 4th studio album, sold 20 million copies, had 7 singles. The album charted #1 in the U.S. and UK. 40th best-selling U.S. album of all time. And this spent 96 weeks, the album spent 96 weeks in the U.S. top 40. And for the 1980s, that's tied for the most with Born in the USA. I mean, just absolutely massive. Rolling Stone and The Ringer, which is a podcasting and online publication, have Hysteria ranked as the #1 hair band album of all time.
Yes.
That said, do you think that Def Leppard is actually, and it may sound crazy, are they a little bit underrated? Here's what I mean by that. Why does you got other great bands, Aerosmith, everybody can name right away Steven Tyler, Rolling Stones, everybody knows Mick Jagger, whatever. I don't think that
his name is Joe Elliott.
Right. I don't think that people know Joe Elliott. You wouldn't be able to go on the street.
A lot.
Who's
You're right. Probably not as
Leppard.
many.
They don't know the band like that, like they know some of the other ones, and I don't think they've been as visible in an odd way. It's like they haven't been as visible as some of those other bands that I mentioned. Everybody knows, Bon Jovi. That's John Bon Jovi, right?
Yeah.
Well, his name's in the band.
Well, Gene Simmons.
That was a joke. That was it.
I mean, Kiss is nothing in my.
I do think part of it could be that Def Leppard, I mean, so their first 3 albums up through Pyromania, they were pretty big, but they weren't giant. And then you had this big gap. And then, I mean, this is just, huge, huge. But then, like, they have hits after that, and they're still a band today.
Yep.
But like their time at the top after this is done,
They kind of
those
peaked.
other bands like Aerosmith, they've been up and down and huge through 3 different decades at least. Like maybe that might be part. And the Rolling Stones, I mean, they're one of the greatest bands of all time. So it might be longevity that you're getting at, Pete.
I think it might.
It could be.
Because you look at, Brad said the first 3 albums weren't huge. Hysteria was massive. And then they come out with Adrenalize in 92.
Which, by the way, is after Nevermind. So we've already got
and that's
the
my
grunge
point.
era
Is
started.
you're getting in grunge at that point, and the hair bands are going the way of the dodo at that point. So you don't have that longevity, and you only have one really massively commercial success. Even though you guys would argue Pyromania, and a lot of people would argue Pyromania is the best.
Well, that was pretty massive too. But yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
So I don't know. To answer your question, Pete, that's my theory on what you're saying.
You get my point, though, right?
I do.
I mean, it's
Right. Oh yeah.
He himself, while you might recognize him right away, and like you said, he is a rock star, and the Union Jack shirts and everything.
Yep.
But yeah, you're right. A lot of people wouldn't know him by name as well as some of those other guys you're talking about.
Right.
correct.
So,
All right. Now we can
Well,
go to the
let's-
album.
well,
or
can I
events
ask
and
you?
stuff.
Maybe it's good to
yeah.
do this before. So I asked you if you both could to listen to Pyromania, and Gifford, I know you said you did. Did you listen to it, Pete?
I did not get time because we were at Valley Fair yesterday, the Six Flags of Minnesota. It's not actually Six Flags, but
The Disney World.
I was having a great time, and then I was working all day today, and I did not get a chance to listen to
Okay.
it. And then I had to prep for this great
Well,
episode. that we're
you can just go away for a couple of minutes then. So,
And I
Giff-
didn't get all the way through it. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, just listening to it though, did you notice a difference like I did, or did you have any comment about that?
Well, so for me, I don't know the album as well, so I know the hits off of it. And I agree with you. Rock of Ages is one of the best. I mean, I love that song. You can't get away from it. It's not my favorite, but it's such a banger that, so when the hits came on, it was like,
Well, I guess
to me,
I
it's
was
all,
thinking
to
more
me,
like,
it's all Def Leppard. I guess I didn't hear a musical
all right.
difference or vibe to it.
I was thinking that more not the hits, but like the album as a whole, what you heard. Because to me, it's much more like hard rock. It's definitely more like traditional. And they even said when Hysteria came out, the name they gave for it is it was called pop metal.
Yep.
Because it was, I mean, these are pop hits. And so I just think, I don't know. To me, I don't really know how to define it exactly, but there's definitely a difference. And they would probably agree because that's what they set out to do. But when you go back and listen to Pyromania through like the idea of like, okay, if you were a fan of them in 83 and then why didn't you like them in 87? I can see the difference. And then lyrically too, some of the, like as much as we all love Pour Some Sugar on Me, I mean, there's some lyrics on this album that just make me really cringe. And so,
You think?
yeah.
We'll get into
there's,
that.
There's some tough ones for sure.
So anyway, I look at Pyromania is a better rock album.
Mhm.
And this
I'll
is
give you
a
that.
pop. This is a pop album, really, even though it's metal. I mean, it's hair metal, but it's more Poison-like, whereas Pyromania is more, I don't know, pick a better.
It's just
rock
got a
band.
harder edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like them both. They're different. There's
Yep.
time for both.
Yes, different does not mean bad.
All right, let's start talking about these sex songs.
All right, so right off the bat, we're gonna start with Women. And if you start listening to this song and you're not familiar with Def Leppard, we start off with a nice little Bible lesson. So you might be thinking, this might be a Christian rock band. In the beginning, God made the land. Then he made the water and the creatures. Then he made man. Like, oh, this is going to be wholesome and good and wonderful. And pretty quick on, it's pretty evident this is not a Christian rock band. And if this song is any indication of most of the songs on the album, it's a lot about relations. A lot about the sexy time.
I wrote that it's an ode to creation of women and staunch heterosexuality.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Skin on skin.
Let the love begin. Yes. That was the line I have written down from this song.
That's my Joe Elliott.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
It's
My memory of this song, though, is this is one that I did not like, that it was a lame song, because all I can remember is the chorus,
Mhm.
which is, the lyrics are a little bit out there. But
yeah.
this song starts, and in my theory is the reason why this is the first song on the album and the first single is because it sounds more like Pyromania than anything else. This is actually I didn't even recognize it when it started. I was like, is this the right song? This is not what I remember. I think it's a rockin' song. I think I really like it much better than I remembered it at all. It's got a great long intro.
Yep.
I do think
I love the intro.
Yeah, this is going to be a trend. It's for an opening song, it's a little bit long, which I'm going to say about a lot on this album.
Every song is
I know.
long.
Yes, it's a
It's
long
the longest album
long.
they've ever done.
But
The
I
songs
wonder
average
if
over
the
5
radio
minutes each.
cuts. I'm wondering if the radio cuts must have been shorter. Probably
They must have been.
I'm thinking
Right.
you could easily have cut these songs
But
shorter.
outside of being a little long,
'Cause
man,
it's just
going back and
repeating
listening to
the
this
same
was
thing
like,
over and over again.
it was fun because it's like I didn't expect it, and
Mhm.
I love this song now again.
Yeah, this is a good one. And for me,
It's hard. It's good.
It's pretty much the first side of the album is just banger after banger after banger.
Like
Oh my
6
God,
hits.
it's all bangers.
Yep. And then the backside, yeah, she falls off pretty heavy. But
You get a few bangers
I
there
disagree.
too.
you got some bangers back there too. But
I just
the
find it
front side,
interesting,
including
if you had like
the title track, which we're not.
if you had the vinyl or the cassette, all the hits except for one are on one side,
Mhm.
and it's just weird that it's not mixed up somewhat different.
I kind of thought so too.
But then the first song on the second side, I kind of have a theory of what that's there for too. So anyway, we'll get to that.
Right.
Oh,
So
cliffhanger.
Pete talked about how you could have your radio edits. Rocket is one of those songs where there's a lot of just extra stuff in there with the flight control and everything like that.
Did we finish Women? Did
Oh,
Pete
I'm
have
sorry.
anything to say about it?
Did we finish Women?
That would be a
They're
first.
probably
Oh,
put on
yeah.
the same thing.
I think I do think we're finished.
Okay. I didn't know if you had said everything.
I think we're finished with Women.
definitely
No,
sad.
I think basically I was able to throw in what I wanted to, but I did. With anytime we do an album, I always try and watch the videos, and so this video that I found on YouTube, it's got like the comic book. It's like a superhero comic book thing. They're kind of going back and forth between. They're just rocking out in a warehouse, which is basically every single one of their videos, but then it's intertwined with the comic book thing. And I think it was, a lot of this to me, I was kind of thinking it's sort of like the love-hate relationship that men have with women, right? It's sort of the, I don't know.
Can't
Dichotomy.
live without them.
The dichotomy, yes,
In
exactly.
the lyrics, but maybe it's implying,
Right.
Also.
Exactly. Now we can go on to Rocket.
All right. Well, this song, I absolutely love this song. I know there's a lot of extracurriculars in there with the voiceovers,
Guitar,
with the
drums,
flight control, but this song at its core, first off, right off the bat, I love like the syncopated drum beat in the beginning. That
Syncopated.
That's probably the best part of the song.
I just love it. Absolutely love it. But at the core of this song, it's a tribute song.
It's a tribute to a lot of other, like several other great rock stars.
It's a tribute to their influences growing up.
That's true.
Yes.
So you've got Jack Flash, that's for the Stones. Rocket Man is Elton. Sgt. Pepper, Beatles. Ziggy is Bowie. Benny and the Jets, back to Elton. Jet Black, the Stranglers. Johnny B. Chuck Berry, thanks to Marvin Berry from Back to the Future.
Correct.
Gene, Bowie again. Killer Queen. We got for Queen. Dizzy Lizzy for Bowie again. Major Tom. Love Laser references T-Rex, and Satellite of Love, a song that Lou Reed did. Lou Reed did. So it's a tribute through and through. And I like a tribute song. I'm a sucker for a good tribute song.
And they're showing pictures of all of them in the video too.
Pete, add that to the list of things Gifford's a sucker for.
Oh, there's going to be another one. There's going to be another one.
You know what I'm not a sucker for?
What's that?
This song.
Really?
I hate this song.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
Man. Let me guess. It's because it's too short?
Well, first of all, it's over 6 minutes long, which is ridiculous. You said you even said there's so much superfluous stuff going on. I don't like the sound of it. I don't like shouting out the names of the instruments that are in the band. We know what you have. Plus, the way he sings this, he's singing in this like snotty voice that every once in a while he does, and I usually do not like that, especially in this song. So this is where you go from an over 5 minute song to then this is over 6 minutes, and then you realize this whole album's over an hour long, and it's like, let's get with it here. And so this is one I didn't remember hating it, but after listening to it again in this research, I found that I am not a fan. So
Brad loves nothing more when he starts an album than to get it over with.
Not if it's good.
We may have just lost a lot of listeners for this podcast by saying that you hate Rocket by Def Leppard.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I can have my opinion. You can like it. I don't care if you like it.
Pete, you and I will bring them right back.
It's the listeners. We will.
There's 7 hits on this album. There's going to be one that you don't like as much. This is my one that I do not like.
All right,
that's fair.
Sneaky
by far. The other one, there's one other one that I'm not a huge fan of, and then there's one I have a love-hate relationship with, and then there's 4 that I really, really like.
Okay. I actually, you know what? I there's a part of me I have written down. I kind of agree with Brad a little bit because I think the same thing on the Satellite of Love piece. The way that he sings it, it is a little bit. I don't know if I want to say
snotty,
twangy, but yeah, you said I don't know if that's
sneering,
the right
like
word.
sneering,
it's like sneering. Yes, sneering.
Well, and you can't even understand
sort of
what
like
he says.
A little high pitch. Yeah, I never knew
it sounds
what
like
he said.
Unless you read the
so you
lyrics,
try and sing along, and you just kind of.
Then it's Satellite of Love, but that gets back.
But
to...
it's still a fun song overall.
Yeah.
I don't hate the song overall. There's just a couple of things that are just annoying. You know, in a song that long, there's going to be some things you love and some things you hate. There's going to be everything in that kind of a song.
There's parts that I get why people would sing along, and like you said, I could see why somebody would say it's a fun song. And maybe at 3 minutes, I would agree. Unfortunately, it's twice that long.
You can skip to the next song if you want to.
Because that's good, because the next one is an awesome song.
Well, and just one last note on this. I'm not quite sure what the lyric "I'll be your rocket" could possibly mean. So I don't think there's any sexual innuendo in this song, so it doesn't really fit in with the rest of most of the album. All right, let's move on to one of the best songs. I don't think anybody can have a bad thing to say about our number 3 song on this album, Animal.
One of the greatest songs.
I have almost no notes. I just wrote, this is a song that really still holds up to me. It's a highlight, and I still love it. I don't know. I don't have anything specific to say about it other than it's about lust.
A little bit.
So I always thought it was love. I
did too.
Yeah. Always until researching for this podcast. My whole life I thought it was love because it would make sense, but lust also makes sense too. But I don't know. It is just a banger. If you're at a party, this is the one that we're all going to be putting our arms around each other and just yelling it along with it. And just a great song. I don't have much else to add.
Well, I got a few things on it. Again, great lead in, amazing lead in. But for me, it kicks in when you get to I got the feeling in my blood. I mean, it's just.
Sing it for us, Giff.
No, I won't. Okay, so.
Come on.
Here's a line that never worked with me with the ladies. I need your touch, don't need your love. Like that one, and gonna take your love and run. You know, pretty clear intentions.
Well, it's about lust.
Tell them that.
Yep.
I mean, those lyrics actually kind of some of these lyrics don't, but that kind of fits. And I mean, it makes he knows what he's writing about.
Yep.
Get in, get out. That's what he wants.
Very clear. And then
get in, get out. Nobody gets hurt. You remember that Saturday Night Live skit? Come on.
No, I
Pa,
don't.
pa, 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 pa. Dana Carvey. I think it was Dennis
not
Miller.
recalling.
I think it was probably Kevin Nealon, and they just didn't get the plan. They couldn't. Never mind.
All right, then.
Okay. Go look it up. In and
it,
out. Nobody gets hurt.
I'm looking it up right now. And then with the great lead in, I also love towards the end the call and repeat of the and I want and I want and I need.
Well, like you
and
said, like Pete said,
just
you could
so good.
Everybody in a group can just sing along and shout back and forth. I mean, it's fun.
Yes.
And that's where it repeats itself so much. I mean, they can cut it down on the radio. They'll pod down. They don't. All it is repeating itself over and over again at the end. So,
but when it's a good song, it works better than like in rock.
I know.
So
right.
I don't think of this one as being too long or repetitive.
No.
So well done. Whatever.
Well, and one of the shorter songs on the album at just over 4 minutes.
Oh, there you go.
So, but yeah, for me, this is my second favorite song on the album, and it's awesome and it holds up. And
this is one of the 4 singles that I still really love.
Okay.
Women being one that I didn't know I loved, but so that's 2 of my 4 so far. If you're keeping track at home.
Awesome. Are we moving on?
Scoring at home, or even if you're by yourself.
If you're scoring at home, you might be listening to this album.
Yeah.
And planning your pickup lines like, I don't need your touch. I need your touch. Don't need your love. So number 4 on the album, the first kind of ballad, I guess, slower song with Love Bites.
And the first, and was it only number 1 hit that they've ever had?
Yes, number 1 hit.
Really?
Which I'm surprised that this is the only one off this album that reached number 1. I mean, there's others that made number 2, so really close, but
right.
I would have thought the next one.
But this one of all songs to be number 1, I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah, this was massive. This was when you grabbed that special someone at the middle school dance and held
your
her
mirror.
close.
Don't forget your mirror.
Don't forget your mirror. Yes. Yes. So the big thing that this song reminds me of, I took a trip to the state fair for 4-H, and we had some of the older kids that were there, and 2 of them were a couple, and they basically spent the entire state fair making out and listening to this one song.
Nice.
So, yes,
wow.
That's what I remember.
Oh, they also, it was their only number 1, but the other thing I wrote down here is this song actually was a full year after the album was released, so.
They scrambled to put this one together. No.
No.
This one. I was going to get, never mind. Sorry.
Edit that out.
No.
I think this song,
it's a little tease.
I mentioned there's 2 songs that I'm not a big fan of as singles. This is the other one. It's fine. Like, I don't hate it. It's boring to me. There's another ballad on here, which is another hit that I think is just 100 times better. But as listening to this one, I do think this one kind of has the Pyromania feel, like that electronic sound in the background. Not that it sounds like a song off Pyromania, but just that like electronic sound. It makes me think of Gunter Glieben Glauken Globen.
Yep. Sure.
Even though it's a much different song and I don't like it as much, but it still reminds me of that when I hear it.
Well, and I think I would be remiss if I did not mention that this song also has a lot of sexual undertones to it. It seems as if here's a guy in a relationship that's just based on sex, but he's worried that it's going to end, which I don't know why he's so worried. It seems like they're having a pretty good time in this particular relationship, but it seems like his lover, like the part where when I'm with you, are you somewhere else? Seems like he's thinking she's got 1 foot out the door.
Mm-hmm. Well, love bites.
Maybe
that's part of the reason I don't love it either. It seems kind of just cliche. I mean, there's love stinks, and there's, like we've heard this before. So for me, this one doesn't stand out nearly as much as a lot of the other songs do.
Okay.
But I mean, again, I get why people would love it.
Nice
it has a big sound, and ballads were huge.
Watching the video for this one, I think I could have been a producer for 80s rock videos for songs like this, because here's what you got to have: the band playing music in the studio and random cuts away to a woman just randomly walking around.
Walking. Yes, Pete. I am picturing the Journey Separate Ways video right now.
Yep.
Yeah,
she's walking around looking for somebody to bite. That's what she's doing.
I think that there was like
Does
a
she
shot
have her
of
hands in
her
her
on
pockets?
the
Is she wearing like a vest or a little coat?
It goes back and forth. Yeah, it is. I think it's. I don't remember exactly what she was wearing, but I'm sure it was a 80s vest. Anyway,
maybe a
go
jean
on.
jacket.
So
are we on
are
to the big one now?
Yes, we are on to the big one. Number 5. Pour Some Sugar on Me. This is my number 1 with a bullet greatest hair band song of all time. Just right away, no music, just the step inside, walk this way, you and me, babe. Hey. And I mean, you're in. That's it. That's all you need to hear. And you're on the dance floor, and it's time to, shake some booty, cut some rug. It's awesome. It's just the best song ever for me.
I have that great memory that you brought up on our previous episode about that one middle school dance where you, me, and Rhonda were dancing to this.
Yep.
Wow.
This was at
Lucky Rhonda
in middle school for a year or whatever. This was my favorite song of all time, I'm sure. This is the song I have the love-hate relationship with now, though.
Okay.
Oh.
It's going back now. There's so much good in it that I love to still listen to. It's still fun, obviously. And so here's what I love. I've seen them in concert twice in the last 10 years. And if they're going to play this in concert, I mean, you're sucked in. It's freaking awesome. I mean, how you can't not like that. But like hearing it on the radio or on the album, it's like, God, this song is just, I compared it to Cherry Pie and Unskinny Bop. It's like a bad song by the good, or not a good band necessarily, but like a big band. They're cheesy song.
But still fun.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so much fun.
And I was 11 when it came out, so I have good memories of it. What I found interesting is that when this song first came out, it did not do that well because they were playing it on rock stations. And when they moved it to pop stations, this is 7 months after the album came out, that's when it took off. And that's because it does have that different sound to it. It's and this was the last song they wrote for the album. This was kind of thrown together off a little
this is the one they
were playing. And Mutt Lange wanted this one other song, and they talked it through, and it turns out this was the massive one that catapulted.
It was when they were just wrapping up producing Armageddon It, and then he just sort of threw these lyrics together, Pour Some Sugar on Me, into the mic, and Mutt Lange goes, wait, that might be the most important song on the album.
Yep.
And so then the song wasn't fully written or anything. He just had these lyrics. That's all he had. Pour Some Sugar on Me, and that's it. And so they put this song together in just a matter of just a couple of weeks or something, and they had to produce it and everything, and they got it on the album just in time, and it was probably the biggest song on the album.
Yeah. And I do love it, but man, like now, and I think part of it too is we talked about lyrics earlier. I would sing along in middle school. Half the time, maybe I didn't even know what the words, not necessarily what they meant, but not even really what they were saying. You're just singing along. Knowing some of the words now, like I get embarrassed saying them. It's like I don't.
Well,
do you take sugar, 1 lump or 2? No thanks. I'm not singing that.
It sounds good
out
when
loud.
you're singing it. It sounds good.
That's all that matters.
Well, and like
I agree with
bubble, I've never liked that. It just, I just don't.
Well, and like there's a.
This is the only. By the way, this is the only rock song that I'm aware of that includes the word saccharin in it.
Well, and to rhyme it with mannequin, they say mannequin and rhyme it with saccharine. I mean, that's lyrical genius. But so
love hate.
One of the first verse, living like a lover with a radar phone. If you listen to it, it sounds like Red iPhone. So they were way ahead of their time. This is 20 years before the iPhone came out. and they're they're like oracles, for crying out loud. But one of the things I love, I mean, right off the bat, the guitar riff is amazing. I love how hard the drums hit, how they let them hit and echo just a little bit. That just it's just awesome.
It's great.
You're all about the drums tonight.
Yeah. Well, and I love this drummer, best one-armed drummer in the land.
That's right.
I love the music break in this song, and here is something I'm a sucker for. I love when you have lyrics just over the drum. No guitar playing, just when you have drum in the background. So like the part where it's got the I'm hot, sticky sweet from my head to my feet. Just the drums behind that.
Yeah.
So freaking cool. So this song has everything for me. And I will mention it's about sex again.
And I can listen to it and I can sit there and cringe at times, but then I'll be like singing along and I'll be like, God damn, this is just catchy as all get out. And I can't turn away.
It's like Mbop by the Hansons. Like you can't get away from that song.
Better than that. And by the way, as much as I love this one, I brought up Cherry Pie on Skinny Bop. I do not love those songs. Those are two of my most hated songs of all time.
Fair enough.
So while I compared it to those,
I love those songs.
I don't
have fun
like
when they come on.
Doing that because in my mind that does it a disservice.
Well, thank you.
Wow.
All right, okay. So on to the last song of side one.
Yeah.
Are we good to go?
Right.
Yeah, number 6
awesome.
Number 6 on the album, Armageddon It. Great guitar riff again to start. I mean, it's just awesome. And again with the sex, you got it, but are you getting it?
Well, this one's about a tease. So,
yes.
Each one's a little different sexual situation.
Yes, I put song about innocent cock tease. That's what I wrote down. You flash your bedroom eyes like a jumping jack, then play it pretty with a pat on the back. So she's looking to get, but no.
But is she getting it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love the sound of this song. This could be possibly my favorite of all the singles right now. I do not understand why the play on words, though. What does the word Armageddon mean here? Why isn't it just I'm getting it, or are you getting? Why is it Armageddon?
I think they just decided it sounds better and it sounds cool. I think that okay. Well,
that's fine. I didn't know if there was something I was missing.
Yeah. No, I'm going to go back to our Taylor Swift episode and say they had a word of the day, and they wanted to stick it in a song somewhere, even though it makes absolutely no sense. To credit Taylor Swift, when she does it lyrically it makes a much more sense. When they do it, it's just because it sounds cool. Again, the lyrics don't matter.
It's fun.
It sounds cool. Yeah. I did enjoy the line, pull it, come on, trigger the gun. Not sure what it means, but I sure did enjoy it.
I had written down, you say that love is won when you get some, but then your finger don't trigger the gun.
Right.
Yeah, there's the tease.
Yeah, also I like the I got an itchy finger, follow me. I'm not sure what it means, but it sounds dirty as hell.
Oh man.
Okay, so now
I'm gonna have to put the explicit lyrics or explicit content when I upload this podcast.
Swearing. There's been no 4-letter words.
Oh, I think I did say one.
Oh well. You might want to throw it on there just for good measure.
Explicit content.
Somebody said cock tease.
Now we're flipping the album over, huh?
Yeah, now we're flipping the album over, and I got to tell you.
This is where I was really interested in you choosing this because a couple of these songs kind of sounded familiar, but like I did not know what was coming with these other songs, not having owned the album. So.
Well, see, and I remember listening to these because I was listening to them on cassette, and I couldn't just hit the skip on the like a Discman back in the day. So this song, Gods of War, first song not about sex, oddly enough. Maybe that's why I don't like it.
Protest song.
It's a protest song.
Political song.
Which many people kind of made fun of him or thought this doesn't fit on an album where you just wrote "Pour Some Sugar on Me." But hey, Joe Elliott, you can do what you want to do, man.
Yeah. Right. Well, the good news is it's only 6.5 minutes long, so it's a quick little ditty.
Yeah. But I like it. I like the length.
Get in,
one, kind of.
Get out.
Really?
Well, so I think realizing it's this beginning of the other side, I think it's got that long intro again, like Women does.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I feel like that's maybe why it's there. And I also think it has that older Pyromania sound again. Like, I really like this song. I think this song kicks ass. And
I could not stand it.
When they sing like the chorus parts, I was listening to it today on a walk. I was shooting through these last few songs again, and I like it more and more every time I hear it. So I don't care what it's about, or if you think it doesn't fit. I think this is a kick-ass song.
I think it's okay that this one is 6 minutes and 37 minutes seconds long because
he said sex.
There it is. I'd put us over the top. We've now exceeded our limit. But where I was going was that most of the other songs are long, and it's just kind of repeating the same thing over and over again. The reason that this is long is because they're throwing in the little montages with like Ronald Reagan and with other political recordings and stuff like that, and they mix it up a little differently, and so it makes it more interesting to listen to. And so that's why I was okay with it. I love this song too. This is probably my sneaky favorite.
Wow.
Ooh, we got a sneaky favorite.
I like it. Right. When we're on the same page like that, that's fun.
Yes.
So for me,
we will not cave in. They counted on America to be passive, and they counted wrong. Huh? That's a quote by Reagan that I had written down.
That's right.
It's in this song. Yep.
Good old Ronnie.
So for me, this song sounds like a musical montage song for a cheesy 80s movie.
Holy
like it could be
shit.
It could be
I cannot believe you just said that.
It could be in Dream Warriors.
I have that line word for word written down about a different song later.
Really?
The exact same wording you just used.
Did you go with Dream Warriors from Nightmare on Elm Street?
I didn't. No, actually, I went Police Academy. Because
that's when they kind of went off track, right?
Well,
there.
It's a different song.
Right. Oh, right, yeah. But this seems like that kind of song. Like I remember watching.
Both said that same thing. That is insane.
I remember watching the Nightmare on Elm Street where that girl's getting herself ready to go fight Freddy. You know, she's taking the stuff off her mirror and she's putting on her cool jacket and her bracelets, and I'm like,
yes,
this is the song. This is the song for that scene to me. Like, that. You know, so
it's what's even more funny is that we both said this exact same random line, but for two completely different reasons.
Different songs. Yeah.
Like your vision of your movie is nothing like what I'm going to say.
Well, your movie's probably a lot better than mine too. Oh
no.
God. All right. So are we good with Gods of War?
Yeah, it kicks ass.
All right. We are going to number 8. Don't shoot shotgun. I have no idea what this phrase means. I looked for it online. I have no idea. I'm just going to go ahead and assume it has something to do with sex.
I think so. I think it's right.
I don't get it. I know what riding shotgun.
Oh, are you not being facetious right now?
I am being facetious.
Oh, okay. But you're really pulling it off here, because
actually, I don't. I don't know what "don't shoot shotgun" means.
Well, I just assumed it means. I guess I didn't pay attention to all the other lyrics, but that it means like you don't want to shoot that shotgun too early.
So you're going premature.
Yes.
You don't want to go premature.
Don't shoot.
Yeah. I think Joe Elliott has a very high self-image if he's looking at it as a shotgun. I mean, that's a long gun, so good for him. But
yeah, I just refer to it as a shotgun in Armageddon it too. Like grab that gun, or what was the lyric you
gave? That was just gun. Pull it, trigger the gun.
Okay, I guess gun, same thing to me, whatever.
Yeah. So I just didn't really get the song. The whole "don't shoot shotgun." My mind was in tangles trying to figure out what the heck he's talking about.
And I couldn't find any notes on this song as far as like content or anything either. So
what's it about?
Yeah.
I wrote that it sounds like a single, and it seems really familiar to me as one of the
I thought it was.
non-singles.
That's what I was gonna say. That's amazing, because I remember this one, but I don't think this actually was a single, right? But
Well, did
I
you write
remember
this
it,
down,
and I
Pete?
knew this song.
Because I actually really did like this song. I thought it was really catchy, but I almost turned it off after the first like 20 seconds because I hate the beginning. He says, "Run for cover" in that sneery, snotty voice. And then they go, "She's so dangerous." And it's just the lamest beginning. It sounds like, oh, here's a tricked up, lame, song. But after that, again, it's really catchy and sounds like another single that was never a single.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like it. I just got to skip the first 20 seconds.
There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
it didn't hit with me. Pete, what do you got?
I like the song. I almost had this as a sneaky favorite
Yeah,
because
it's up
it
there.
was one that I did know, but I had to have Gods of War in front of it. Sorry.
Fair enough. All right.
Run Riot?
Run Riot, number 9.
Is this the one that you had in your movie, Brad?
No, I like this one too.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
This is
one
where,
could
though,
have been in a movie.
I wrote that I'm starting to look at the lyrics more here, and I've mentioned this before, blah, blah, blah. I did this other podcast, a couple of them, about the Foo Fighters with these other podcasts, and so I've really got into some of the Foo Fighters lyrics, and they got some really good, meaningful lyrics, especially on even some of their later albums. And this is where I'm looking at a band that's a rock band, but there's just not a lot of substance to the lyrics when I look at this song. It's the 80s, and that's fitting. It's a hair metal band from the 80s, so I don't expect much. But comparing that's just one thing that came to my head. But then I wrote, damn it, if this isn't just catchy again.
Yeah.
I like this song a lot.
The one thing I wasn't crazy about, it seemed like it was disjointed, like the guitar riffs and the vocal rhythms kept changing a little too much for my liking. But this to me is the fight for your right to party song. It's a little bit of a protest. It's kind of like F the man type song. Like, we got to get out, we got to go have fun. Like, playing by the rules, is no fun, and all that. So that's what I took away from this one.
Far and away my least favorite song on the album.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Is what I had, yeah. And it's probably unfair to compare it to because it's comparing against a lot of other great songs.
Mm-hmm.
But as this album goes, it was not my favorite. Still, there's some fun parts in it. It had a really good guitar solo, but like Gifford said, it seemed disconnected. But the guitar solo itself in it, I thought was pretty good.
Considering we've been on the same page so much here, Pete, I'm surprised that your least favorite isn't going to be the same one as mine. But
we haven't got there yet?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
there's Rocket, but then there's another one. So
it better not be the next one.
No, it's not. I love Hysteria.
The best song
I do too.
On this side, in my opinion, number 10, the namesake of the album, Hysteria. Go ahead.
Which is a rare thing. It was unusual that
I don't care for Love Bites, but this one nails it.
Right.
It's unusual, isn't it, to have a title track as number 10?
Number 10, yeah, so late in the album.
And just to be the only single on that side. I mean, it's just the whole layout's kind of odd when you consider this is just stuck here randomly, seemingly.
Right. I thought it was a great use of the word Hysteria.
Yeah, I like that too, actually.
Which is an unknown element thought to make up existing forms of matter, a substance seen as the elemental or pure form of something. I mean, these guys are lyrical geniuses. To have Hysteria in your Hysteria song. So I had down, this is a great smooching song, ballad.
Yeah.
So, and I love the music break in the song as well.
And I don't really understand how the lyrics fit, but according to Joe Elliott, this song is about spiritual enlightenment and like a deeper meaning behind it. And then I went and looked at the lyrics again. I don't really get that.
No,
it seems more like a romance relationships. Yeah. But he says it's about spiritual enlightenment. So yeah.
Well, and I can't disagree. but it doesn't seem as much about sex to me as the other ones. So, but I really enjoyed it, and to me, again, it's the best song on the second side.
Yeah,
it's a great song.
This
is of the four singles that I really like. This is the fourth one that holds up really well today for me.
Yeah, totally agree.
We're down to.
Want to get that girl back? Sorry, one more comment. This one I had written down. If you want to get that girl back and you want to dedicate a song to her, this is the song to do it with. Awesome. You'll fail, but this would be the song that I would use.
This is the one to go with?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would argue that you just walk up to her and say, "I need your touch, don't need your love," and that should do it. So
yeah, that works.
So on to number 11, Excitable. Anyone?
This is going to be the one that Brad doesn't like.
This is far and away the worst song on this album. It is the lamest sounding song. It sounds dated. This is the song. The lyrics, stand up, say yeah. It's just dumb. And because of those lyrics and that sound, this sounds like an 80s montage song from a not great movie, like a Police Academy type movie. Or I was picturing, I put that down just because the movie I was picturing was Armed and Dangerous, but that's not as well known, so people may not, but similar type of kind of movie. Just a couple of bumbling idiots, but they're coming on. And when I listen to it in that respect, like I picture that movie, I kind of find it slightly catchy. But then it just is so long and repetitive at the end. It's like, oh my God, how many times are you going to say excitable?
Right. A lot. I can count them up for you real quick here.
So
I just wrote down that I think he's using the word excitable instead of horny.
I think it's about sex.
Yes. I concur.
I think it's about bad cops trying to learn the ropes.
Citizens on patrol.
Yeah.
Oh. God, that's good stuff. Anything else on this?
Little I'm not on the same page as Brad on this. Okay. I liked it. I thought it was fun. What I said was if they had to pick one more song that they could have made into a hit, it was this one.
Oh my!
I enjoyed it.
Talk about you guys were so together at the beginning of this album, and you completely diverged.
That's my opinion.
I think what I actually wrote down.
I had fun listening to it.
Completely the opposite of that is where I felt like they were trying too hard to write some kind of a hit, and then it just comes out so lame.
That could be. That could be.
But if I picture that movie and go back in time 35 years, I can give it enough credit that it's like, okay, that's fun for 2 minutes,
right?
But not 5 or whatever it is.
Well, and I'm gonna go back and watch Dream Warriors, and in that scene, I'm gonna put Gods of War on and see if I like the song or the movie any better because of it.
I'll do the same.
So, well, we are going to wrap it up here with number 12. We got Love and Affection. And to me, this is him just trying to pick up a girl at a bar. He's not looking for love and affection or understanding, just looking to knock boots. That's really all this.
The title of this song was really familiar to me to the point where I thought maybe this was a single too that I remembered from somewhere. But it wasn't, so I don't know. I don't have hardly any notes other than I really do like this song. I think it's, as a finishing song to the album, I think it's rock solid. It has a little different sound than a lot of the others, and I like the way it takes you home.
Well, and he's using it as a finishing song based on the lyrics. I love the lyric, "You're just another girl, I'm just another guy, it's just another night." He's just out on the prowl.
He's just bored with it. He's
a rock star.
Yep.
But I agree with Brad. I thought this was just a really solid closer. Finishes the album really well after that awesome, excitable song. It's a good. It's
glad we finished on the same page, Pete. That's nice.
There you go. I loved it.
And that's the album, fellas. Yeah,
that was fun. That was really fun to go back and explore the songs I didn't know that well, and relive all those hits, and discover "Women" being a song that I thought was totally lame and hated, and
discovered women
and is awesome. So I changed my perspective on some songs. I learned some stuff. and
Mhm.
it's just too long. That I can't believe how long that album is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it comes in at what does it come in at?
63 minutes.
Okay, that's what it is.
So
It's
almost
just
five and a
over
half minutes
just
a
over an
song.
hour. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
there's a lot of extra little things in there, voiceovers and
And that's
stuff
have
like that.
like Gods of War, like Pete said, having a song like that's that long in an album, that's fine. Like here and there, it might fit that particular song, but having every one drag on like that is like, then it's like,
Mhm.
what are you doing? What's going on here?
Right. And
I
like you
think.
say, like with Excitable, how many times can you say Excitable? It's like that one New Kids song.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
Which one was that towards the end? Something about a girl,
Yeah, of course.
but they just repeat the same lyric over and over and over again. So, but still, I think the album holds up. There's so many good songs on it.
Oh, it does. It was great.
And
I've
it
listened to it
was
like 5 times in the last week, and I could listen to it again tomorrow, even though we don't have to talk about it anymore.
What if we find out that it was all metaphorical and none of this album was about sex at all?
I would be
It's all about
disappointed.
heroin.
Speaking of 1987 music, I did want to make one note. In listening back to the original episode of this month from 1987, when I brought up Debbie Gibson,
Mhm.
I said that probably the song I would remember and like the most is Out of the Blue. That was the name of the album. The song I meant to say was Only in My Dreams, and I heard that and I'm like,
Oh,
I
yes.
screwed that up, and I want to go back and correct myself. So,
Look at that
I am
self-editing.
not going to go back and edit that.
well, that's already out, Pete. So
It's already out there, as there is
All
no
right.
time in podcasting.
That's why I want to publicly state that I made a mistake.
Apologies to Deborah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and last Wednesday she was playing here in a theater that my niece works at, and I tried to coax Pete into going to see her, thinking that would be a fun night out, and we would also have like podcast material that would fit right in, and he just would not go.
Well, we had a podcast.
We could have had free
recording, and
tickets.
my choice was to go see Debbie Gibson for free or be with Gifford.
Yeah.
You know,
We were
and
recording
so-
that night, so we would have
Yeah.
had to ask
always
you.
a good choice. So
I don't know, Pete. I might actually disagree with you. Debbie Gibson or me? I might go with Debbie. To wrap up this episode, we have not done our top TV for 1987. So we are going to do that here tonight. Who would like to start us off?
I should go last. This is my
Okay.
episode, so why don't Brad go first?
I'll
How
go
is this
first.
one? Okay.
I don't know what he's talking
Oh wait,
about.
no, it wasn't. No, I can go
Too
first.
late. I'm going first.
Sorry, I was thinking it was
Like, wait a
mine
minute.
was
We
last
talked
week.
about TV in that original episode of the month, but we didn't actually state our very favorites. So I'll just
Yes.
quickly go through. These are, again, my favorite shows that I remember at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so The Cosby Show in 1987 was my favorite show. And eventually that show went off a big cliff. And of course, now there's all kinds of other stuff. But in
No pun
1987,
intended with a cliff.
Hey
Good
now.
point. But in 1987, that was my favorite show. And then number 2, we mentioned Mr. Belvedere, and I don't remember it. It's been so long since I've watched an episode, but I know I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 2. 3, I put My Two Dads because I remember, I watched it every week, and it was about a kid. So it was. I think I had a crush on that girl too, Stacy Keenan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Newhart, and then my last 2 are the adult shows, but Newhart number 4 because we watched it as a family, and every week I loved it. And then Cheers. At this point, I was watching Cheers in 1987 every week, and so even though I maybe didn't watch the years before until later, I was a fan of the show by this time, and we would watch it every week. That's my top 5.
All right.
That's a good list.
All the other
Okay.
TV shows that I mentioned, you can go back 3 weeks and listen to those.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go next with my honorable mentions. It pained me to do this, to put on the honorable mention and not the top 5 list, but there's just too many good ones. I had Golden Girls on my honorable mention, but I didn't watch Golden Girls as much back in 1987. I watched it later. when I got a little older and when it was in syndication, but that's why it didn't make my top 5. And there's just so many other great ones that I'll get to. Also, the honorable mentions were Alf, Wonder Years, Moonlighting, My Two Dads, and Dallas. Excuse me. My top 5, going from the bottom up. Number 5, Family Ties. Number 4, Night Court. I actually did at that time. I loved Night Court. I thought it was funnier than Family Ties. Family Ties overall a better show, but Night Court for me was just way funnier.
Yeah, I love Night Court.
Yes, and then I had Cheers. Oh, you were gonna say something?
Oh, I was just gonna say that the Wonder Years started in 1988, so I don't know what you were getting that from.
I found it on Google when sorry. Well, it
was the 87-88 season because it actually started in January of 88. I just looked it up. It was mid-season because I didn't think you were right, and I wanted to know for sure if I was wrong.
Thank you, Brad, for pointing that out.
No, it was more for my own satisfaction.
All of our listeners would have caught on to that too, and we would have lost all credibility if you didn't point that out.
I wasn't trying to show you
up. Where was I? Cheers at number 3. And then I had Cosby Show for the same reasons you said. My number 1 was Newhart. That was the one I actually wanted to do Newhart for this episode or for this one of our episodes this month. We actually could not find it on streaming anywhere, and we always want to be able to watch an episode or two of a show like that, and couldn't find it anywhere. So
maybe by the time we do 88. Or even 1990 when it ended. Maybe it'll be available again somewhere.
Netflix, if you're listening, hint, hint.
Right. So that was your list. Okay, I got my top 5 here. Starting at number 5, I got MacGyver. Number 4, Mr. Belvedere. I love Bob Uecker. Number 3, Perfect Strangers and Belky Bartakamus.
Yeah, I should have had that one on my. Yeah.
Number 2, and both of these came from the Tuesday night lineup, Growing Pains, and number 1, Who's the
Wow.
Tony Danza, Alyssa Milano. Loved.
Is that really your number 1, or is it just because of Alyssa Milano?
No, I really liked that show. I thought it was a good show. I mean, it was neck and neck between Growing Pains and Who's the Boss, and they were on back to back. So, but again, yeah, Alyssa Milano probably would have tipped the scales for me on that.
Here's where it comes into play that you didn't have NBC.
Right. Yep. I did not have NBC. So,
if I transported back to 1987, Growing Pains might have been in my top 5 too. I don't remember. I do know I loved that show at a time, but then it kind of got bad, and my memory of it isn't very positive anymore. Plus, Kirk Cameron, he's a nut. So, but I do know when it
get too
started,
political on this show.
Show I loved, and we watched everything.
But I agree.
All right. Should we go ahead and close the yearbook there, Pete?
You know what? I made a mistake earlier, Gifford, when I said that the prototypical rock band was Def Leppard. I think true. I should have said Preacher Row.
Yes.
Kids, parents, if you're trying to teach your kids how to be a great rock band, you should watch video of Preacher Row, not Def Leppard.
Or you could do both.
You could do both. But might confuse them. All right.
What do we got? Should we give a little preview for next month?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Just really quick. So we did another month here. We did it. Good job, guys. But so last July we did the Vacation series. We took a break from our usual routine and took a movie that was near and dear to us. Well, 2 actually, and then added the other 2 in for a full month of vacation movies.
Yes.
And now, Gifford, what are we going to do in July this year to keep that tradition going?
Well, last year we went on vacation. This July, we're going to do a staycation.
What?
So clever.
Yes. So we are going to start the month, and everything in the month of July is going to be referenced to the great state of Minnesota. So the first Monday in July, we are going to do a Minnesota month preview, and we're just going to cover a lot of stuff that is unique or important to us in the state of Minnesota, covering any manner of things from music to the State Fair, Mall of America, Paul Bunyan. just the things that are unique to us, or we feel are unique to us, and that are important to us.
You betcha.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are from Minnesota, as many of our listeners are, you will love this month, I think, and maybe want to participate a little. And if you are not from Minnesota, you will love it too, because you will
Educational.
learn about us, and it will entertain and educate you about a state that we are very territorial about.
Yes.
You are going to want to come to Minnesota and probably live here.
Right. Well, and later in the month, we will be doing a few games. We're coming up with some games for the month that we think will be very entertaining and fun, and we're hoping to have some guests on as well. So
strip poker?
No. How can we do strip poker, Pete? We do this naked already.
We can.
What am I going to do? Take my headphones off? Like, come on.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I don't think you're wearing them in the right spot.
Strategically placed.
And we're off the rails. All right.
Oh, man.
I think this is a good time to bring in the Preacher Row, Pete.
I think now the Preacher Row starts. Here we go. There they are.
There they are. Bye.
Good night.
See you guys. Sugar.
Bye.
No one's here to comfort me. Sorry for what I have done. Sorry that your song is gone. 7 steps and it will be my last. And start me on my